Today's 359 is sponsored by PlayerUnknown's Battleground Mobile. PUBG Mobile is an on-the-go battle royale at its greatest with eye-popping graphics, super smooth gameplay, and a variety of exciting play modes. Download the official mobile version of PUBG for free. Go to your Android or iOS app store and type PUBG Mobile. And collect a special reward using the promo code HOLZBZX9C. Code also listed in the episode description. Play now! Welcome and good morning, everybody, to the 359 Podcast, CNET's daily news podcast. On November 20th, it's episode 492. You got Ben Fox Rubin today and special guest, friend of the show, damn it, Katzmeyer.
Hey.
I am here. Bow before me.
Bow before the man that knows all things about all TVs. So today's podcast, we're going to talk all about TVs during the holiday season. We've got Katzmeyer here to run through an epic amount of information.
It's going to be a sprint.
In just 4 minutes. Yeah, we'll try to cram in as much as we can. Send in whatever questions and comments you want to share with David, and I'll just kind of sit here and relax while he answers the questions after the podcast.
Nice.
Either way, without further ado, let's get to the podcast, and we'll see you in 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
Start hitting us up with any questions and comments you got about buying TVs this coming Black Friday, and we'll see you back in the chat in 3 minutes and 59 seconds from 3, 2.
Welcome to the 359. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm David Katzmeyer.
The holiday shopping season is upon us, which means consumers will have a lot of deals to sift through. So, Katz, how many of these deals, specifically for TVs, are basically crap?
About 142. And I say that kind of scientifically because we actually went through and looked at 151 deals.
Wow.
And
142 of them are probably not worth it
for
you?
And I'll tell you what happens. All these retailers throw up TVs of, ridiculously epic cheap prices. So yeah, if you want an $80 32-inch TV, not the worst place to spend your money. 32-inch TVs are generally junky, but what people are looking for is, good living room size TVs at a good price. So I have a few that I can recommend. Top of the list is the Vizio E series. That thing starts for 43 inches at $310. So that's not. There are cheaper 43-inch TVs out there, and you can stomp over somebody, at Best Buy to get one. But that's a really good TV because it's full array local dimming. I called it the best home theater worthy, the cheapest home theater worthy TV of the year. That's a great TV, and it goes all the way up to 70 inches again for $750.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so those are really good prices for a TV that performs very well. And then there's a TV that my favorite TV of the year, the TCL 6 series,
which I just bought this morning. Thanks to your recommendation.
Totally coincidental, yeah. So that TV is great. That's my editor's choice. Superb picture quality, better than the E-Series. Definitely worth the step up in price, Ben. You didn't get ripped off. It's a wonderful TV, 55 inches for, what is it, what did you pay, $630?
$630 on Amazon, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it's got the Roku built in, which is great. So anyway, those are my two real value picks. And, you'll see cheaper TVs out there from LG and Samsung. They're not going to perform any better. LG and Samsung make some great TVs, but they cost more money than these. So, again, if you want a really good, cheap TV, those are the ones I recommend.
I've been hearing these words come out of your mouth a lot these days. Full array local dimming.
Yeah.
For the folks at home, why don't you explain to us what that means and why it's important?
So basically, an LCD screen has a bunch of LEDs behind it, and those can turn on and off independently on a TV with full array local dimming. On most LCD TVs, especially the cheap ones, they all turn on and off at the same time. Of course, the benefit is with this localized dimming and brightening, you get much better pop, much better contrast to something like HDR, which all these TVs have, but only ones with full array local dimming do really well. And of course, OLED TVs do really well. So that's really what it does. It improves contrast, and that's the most important ingredient for picture quality.
Let's talk about OLED. So LG makes a really good OLED. They basically were like, look, we know you guys want to buy this TV, so we're going to cut the price by like $20 during the holidays. Are there other OLEDs that we should be paying attention to, or this is really the one to beat at this point?
Yeah, so again, OLED TVs, right now the cheapest one is $1,600 for the 55-inch size. Which
lower
is
than I expected, but I'm obviously not on the market for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's and the price drop is a lot less than I thought it would be. So what LG did this year is they didn't do those steep discounts that everybody's hoping for. So yeah, if you want to spend, it's still the lowest price it's ever been. Well, actually, the lowest price has been this year. Last year was actually cheaper. So they're not really coming down in price. The LCDs are the ones that, again, give you that really, really good picture quality. Not as good as OLED, but they'll give you the best bang for the buck this time of year for sure.
So was it the LG that's as low as $1,600 this year, or is it somebody else?
No, that's LG, and LG is always going to have the cheapest OLED TVs just because they're the ones that make all the panels. So that's a really good television. It's our editor's choice for the high-end market. It's $2,500 for the 65-inch. But again, those prices are not going to be world shattering. You're not getting a great sale price on those. I was hoping for like $2,000 for the 65, which would be a really, really good price, but that hasn't happened yet. Maybe it will. Who knows? Maybe LG won't sell any and they'll want to bring it down. But right now, again, the best value is in the LCDs.
So with the little time we have remaining, let's run through maybe one other important feature set, one other piece of technology, hopefully that people should pay attention to if they want to future-proof their device. Like what should they look at?
So we talk about full array local dimming that really helps with picture quality, but with smart TV, I really like Roku TV operating system. They do a really good job of making all these apps really easy to use, and again, it's very frequently updated, and it's one of these systems that that's what Roku does. They make TVs easy to use. They make streaming easy to use on these TVs. So if you have a choice between two TVs that look very similar, one has Roku, one that doesn't, I'd say go with the Roku.
Nice. All right. If you want to read more about these stories, check them out on CNET. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
David Katzmeyer.
Thanks for watching.
Should we read like every TV of the 151 that we looked at?
That was so much more specific than I thought it would be.
Should I go and just tell everybody no?
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the recording of the audio podcast. If you've got great questions about what TVs are available right now, different feature sets, David Katzmeyer is your man. I got a question for you, David. So there are a myriad of options out there with giant, gorgeous screens. Help someone like me who, as much as the giant screen is wonderful, might not fit in my apartment. And as TVs are becoming larger in their standard forms, how do I go about shopping for something that's a little more compact?
So it depends on how compact you mean. Like I said, the 43-inch Vizio E-Series, that's pretty small these days. And that's $310. At that size, that's my pick. I don't know, you want to go smaller, Brian?
Yeah, for shits and giggles, why not?
So, actually, I said this at the top, but 32-inch TVs are basically like, who cares? They're a dime a dozen. Their picture quality is not going to be much different from one brand to the next. So again, you can get really cheap ones. My pick right now is a Roku TV, like I talked about, $130 for a 32-inch size. Might get down a little less expensive than that, but that's...
Who makes that one?
That one's TCL.
Okay.
So, and again, you're not going to get good picture quality at that size. The best picture quality improvement you're going to get is when you go to a 43-inch size. So I would shop strictly on price lower than 43 inches.
So, and that's because with the smaller devices, they're just not able to cram as much tech into them, or it's not really even, it's not as big of a market.
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly because the competition is so rough down there that they stopped making good small TVs a while ago, and even Vizio, which is they're bringing these fully local dimming prices to to a lower price point. They stopped at 43 inches, which is actually pretty good. Last year, I think their lowest size was 50 inches. Mm-hmm. So again, that's everybody's concentrating. All the manufacturers are concentrating on the quote unquote larger TVs, which are 55 inches and up.
Hunter is asking about a 21-inch. Mm-hmm. Do they even go that small?
Again, I would shop on price. Roku does, I think, the TCL S305 series goes down to 21. It's either 21 or 24, and that's an awesome TV. Again, when you're in these tiny like living room and bedroom situations, it's really nice to have the built-in smart TV because one, you don't have to juggle a second remote. You're not like in a full home theater situation where you got all this other equipment anyway. It's generally just the TV, and having everything built in for that one TV, especially in a secondary room, is really convenient.
All right, let's take some questions from the audience. Timothy Dew asks, how many years would you recommend getting a new HD TV? I'm guessing he means like how many years in between jumping to get your upgrades?
Good question.
As long as you can. I mean, I still have a 10-year-old TV at home. It's great. You know, it's a plasma with great picture quality. I haven't felt the pressing need to upgrade.
Of course it's a plasma.
Sorry. We're still hanging on to them as much as we can. But yeah, I wouldn't, it's not like a phone, okay? I'll put it that way. I never feel the need to upgrade. Some people do, you know, but they just have money to burn. TVs are expensive. I would buy a good one and, you know, expect it to last for a while. If he's talking about reliability, it's all over the map. You know, these TVs, again, you should expect them to be 5 or 10 years before they die, basically. And you know, it's a wide range, but you know, they're going to last longer than in terms of going obsolete. They're not going to go obsolete. They're going to stick around and produce a really good picture for a long time.
Right, and unlike a phone, you're not moving it around all the time. You're not, you know, it's not a touch screen. You're not touching it all over the place. So that obviously significantly increases its lifespan. That arguably it's sitting in the same place most of the time.
Right, until your Switch controller like flies against it and destroys it. But so use your little, you know, wrist holders, please.
Yes. Yeah. Very important.
And I saw that happen once in college, so it's a very real thing.
With
it's a joke,
which
but
was
with the Wiimote,
heavy, right? With the big old Wiimotes.
I've only seen that on YouTube. I'm impressed that you saw that like live in person. I would have paid to see that.
The Switch ones are really light, but was that a glass, Brian? Was that like a plasma screen?
Oh no, it was a cruddy old CRT, but we still made it happen.
Oh yeah.
All right, next question's coming in from Vicodero07. Will the Vizio PQ65 F1 be back in stock? What would you recommend as an alternative if it's not?
Great question. That's my #1 question. Props to you for pointing it out. So I really recommend the P-Series Quantum. It's a great TV for $1,400 for 65-inch. So we were talking about those OLED alternatives before for the high end. That's my #1 pick right now. Of course, it's out of stock everywhere at that price. It normally goes for $2,100, so that's a crazy awesome price.
And that's well before Black Friday.
Yes.
They started early, and you know the people that were paying attention decided they were like, we're not going to wait. We're just going to buy this thing.
Yep. So to answer your question, no idea. I've actually asked Vizio yesterday and again today whether I even added them just now on Twitter. So maybe they'll get back to me and let me know when these things are expected back. But they know, you know, it's a really good seller and they know it's a great price. So who knows? An alternative, the normal Vizio P series is very good, but I think the best step down alternative to that is actually that TCL 6 series. It has superb picture quality. It's not going to be as good as the Quantum. You know, I gave the 6 series an 8 in picture quality. The Quantum got a 9. OLED's get a 10 to give you some reference. But that 6 series, again, for $900 right now for the 65-inch at Best Buy, superb television. Unless you're, you know, a real video quality hound, you know, you're not gonna be disappointed by the picture. You know, the Quantum is amazing, but you know, if you can't find it, you really want a new TV. Either wait a little bit for it to come back in stock, or jump on that TCL.
Right, and I would probably say the way that the market works these days, it probably will come back in stock later in the season. Probably not at that price point.
Exactly.
They probably realized these are selling like hotcakes. What was it, at $1,400?
That's a $700. That's like what, 35% off. Yeah,
right.
That's crazy.
So they probably realized they don't have to offer it at that same price again. So unfortunately, if you missed the boat this time, you probably missed the boat. And I don't know, maybe next year, or if you really love the TV, buy it slightly higher when it does come back in stock.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Let's talk accessories, getting away from picture quality for just a second. Josh has a last-gen Chromecast. Would it be worth upgrading to the new model?
Assuming you mean the puck circle-sized, absolutely not.
They all do the same thing.
Dude, the new Chromecast was the most fake upgrade ever. Like all it is like it's matte now.
It's
like,
a new
new color.
Yeah, no, it's
new
barely,
paint job.
No, it's less colors than it used to be.
Less colors.
It came in like coral and all these weird colors before. Now it's just black and white. They phoned it in on that update. Don't even bother.
Good answer. If we're going to talk about accessories and functionality, David wants to know what your feelings are on smart TVs. At this point, most TVs are going pretty smart, am I right? I mean, the features are just kind of coming standard, but if you're not already there, like myself, when do you think is a good time to make that jump for the additional functionality?
So again, I'll go back to my original answer of when to upgrade a TV. The best way to upgrade a smart TV is to buy a Roku. Little streamer that starts at $20 for Black Friday. and goes up to 50 for their 4K HDR one. My favorite streamer, you can put it on any TV. It'll basically infuse your old cruddy TV with amazing new streaming. You can get a Fire TV too. Amazon's Fire TV has done a really good job with voice if you're an Alexa head. But that's the best way to make your old TV less sucky for streaming.
So why don't you also, we were talking about this ahead of the podcast, why don't you walk us through some of the a variety of the smart TVs and who does a better job than others?
Well, again, like I said, Roku is the best in terms of overall smart TV functionality. Vizio is the worst. So in that middle area, you'll find, Fire TV, Amazon makes those televisions. Picture quality is nowhere near something like the TCL 6 series, but they throw Fire TV on there. It's okay. I think Samsung actually does the best job of all the guys that develop their own operating system, and the newer Samsungs are very, very good. The issue there is updating. So, they're not necessarily motivated in the same way that a Roku is, or even an Amazon, to continually roll out these features updates. What they want to do is sell you a new TV. And if your TV starts sucking and the smart TV works badly
Guess
on
what?
it.
You're going to buy a new TV.
You know what? I really like the Samsung, but the smart TV is bad. Let's just buy another. So, they're good. LG is good. They have that wavy, talk about a Wii remote that's pretty cool. They all do a really good job right now with the current generation. So you're buying a brand new one. There's very little reason unless you need like a special app or something like that. The exception is Vizio, whose smart TV is, as I've been saying for years, terrible. But when you are ranking these things, you can always go, you know what? I really like that Vizio TV. Let me buy a $50 Roku and put it on there and be in, a really good place.
Makes sense.
Next question comes in from American Princess. When will ATSC 3.0 come out?
Ooh. So ATSC 3.0 is the latest generation of the over-the-air broadcast spectrum, over-the-air broadcast standard. They're talking about 2020 now.
What is it supposed to do? Like better digital quality?
Well, a lot of it is data tracking. Surprising, right? They're going to somehow be able to.
That's what the improvement is.
Yeah,
right.
well, of course, there's video quality stuff. You can do 8K and whatever. But they're also saying maybe some better reception, but it's really about two-way data, and they also want to compress their bandwidth to sell off more spectrum to wireless guys that actually make money, like cell phone providers. So
it sounds lousy. It doesn't sound good.
It is technically better. You can get some improvements. We don't know yet. I mean, it could be. And I'm expecting it to at least be as good as ATSC 2.0, which is your current over-the-air television. Again, you'll get improved video quality with 8K. You'll get potentially HDR. All these things. So that is potentially good. We just don't know. But that's been one of the big things is the data tracking, the ability to basically phone home and tell everybody what you're watching.
Which it gets them up to date with the streamers.
Maybe, but who knows? In 2020, there might be some really crazy stuff happening.
Where they're going to follow your eye movements. Basically.
There's going to be the ATSC broadcast guys are inevitably going to move slower than any of the internet based guys. So. That's just how it is. But yeah, maybe 2020. We'll see.
Let's talk about burn-in. Jay and David are both asking about burn-in for OLED. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that?
So maybe they've been watching some videos on YouTube. There's a lot of that. We've been saying this for years. If you are burning in an OLED TV, you're trying really hard. And a lot of people, let me back that up. I think a lot of people leave their televisions on MSNBC or Fox News or CNN for days and days on end, and they have that little logo burned into the lower left-hand corner. If you're going to watch TV like that, don't get an OLED.
Unless it's a CNET logo burned into the lower corner.
Right.
Is that even possible?
Then get a CNET tattoo.
Yeah.
We do now.
Okay.
It's this.
Right.
You've been roped into it.
We'll do it just to burn in OLEDs. But if hopefully you're turning off your TV at night and doing the normal stuff, and for example, letterbox bars aren't going to burn it in. They're much more resistant to burn in than plasma was. Anecdotally, I've never seen a case personally, and I haven't gone into stores and looked for them because that's where you see them a lot. And a lot of people say gaming. If you game maybe 18 hours a day and never turn off your TV and have the little HUD up in the upper right or left for the same game, that might do it. There's some really good tests being run right now by another website, and they've done a really good job of kind of tracking it. They haven't seen massive stuff, but there have been some evidence of it when you again, leave these static images on the screen.
Right.
I say, if you're watching normal TV, get an OLED. We have a much longer description of all this stuff on CNET if you want to dive a little bit deeper. But at the end of the day, it's not a big concern for a lot of people.
All right, next question's coming in from Myra. So is OLED better nowadays? We're looking for a TV. We play lots of games online and watch a lot of streaming apps. Which TV would be good? Specifically, what's good for a teen bedroom or like a preteen bedroom? Maybe like I'm guessing they're looking for a smaller, cheaper option.
Okay, so that covered from OLED to a teen bedroom. First of all, don't put your $2,500 TV in your kid's bedroom, please. Unless you're, well, okay, maybe you want to. But if you can't afford that, again, I go back to the TCL Roku TVs for the smaller bedroom screen sizes. Again, like 21 inches they start at. They go up to 43. Those are non-4K, 1080p TVs, 720 on the smaller sizes. They're perfectly good. They got great streaming, and they're really, really cheap. And then you can go, if you want good picture quality, step up to the Vizio E-Series. Again, starts at $310 for the 43-inch size. Great television, but again, these Rokus are pretty fine for your kid's bedroom and for gaming as well.
Aaron Johnson asks, I have a question regarding cheap smart TVs. I noticed some TVs like the Samsungs only have 2 HDMI ports. Would you have to add an HDMI extender to add ports or other devices? Do those things even exist? I've never seen anything like that. And let me just say, imagine if Apple made a TV.
I have one of those where you add more HDMI ports.
Yeah. A lot of people do.
I'm like one of the only people in the world that still has a Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
So I have a Blu-ray player, a PlayStation 4, my Roku, and I have an older TV that only has 2 ports. So it's actually not that hard. I just bought one of them that adds an additional 2 ports. And it automatically shifts them over. It knows which one you're using most of the time. So you don't even have to find the remote to toggle over to the next one.
Yeah, and those are perfectly fine. If you want to, don't replace your TV. If you run out of ports, go to Amazon and Google, HDMI switch or whatever. That will get you a bunch of results, and they're all cheap. And a lot of them do 4K and HDR. They're pretty popular. With a new TV, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Again, especially if you're doing a lot of streaming. If the built-in streaming is good, then you don't need to buy a streamer, for example, to attach to it. The game console and the cable box are 2 common things that you do via HDMI. You're going to need ports for that. 2 is usually plenty. But I wouldn't just disqualify a TV based on that. You got to go with what you actually use and figure it out.
That being said, I guess with 2 ports, that's usually the smaller TVs, which is a lot of the questions that we're getting today.
Well, even the cheap ones, like, again, Samsung and LG with these Black Friday TVs, they'll chop ports off, just to save.
How much money are they saving?
Yeah. And a lot of that is maybe to induce you to buy the slightly more expensive Samsung or LG or Vizio, whatever it is, to get that extra port. So there's a lot of stuff out there. But again, you can usually solve those problems if you're willing to put up with a little bit of hassle by attaching one of these switches on there.
All right, Katz, hypothetical. Your TV just blew up, and you have to buy one on this coming Black Friday.
Oof.
Vizio P-Series, Vizio E-Series, or TCL 6. What wins your money?
TCL 6. But I would actually save up and buy an OLED because I feel like
you're a TV guy.
I'm a TV guy. I would put it on a 0% card and pay for it a couple years from now, whatever it is. Get the points and stuff. It'd be rough. It'd be a tough conversation to have with my wife. But yeah,
that's how much better the picture quality is.
Right.
Like it's that noticeable.
I love it. Again, these LCDs are very good. But I would probably kick myself in a couple months if I didn't get an OLED when I had the chance. So that's what I would get. I'd get the current editor's choice, the B8P for $2,500 for the 65-inch. But, again, between those 3, I do like the TCL best. The Vizio P-Series, though, I'll put this in right now. It's on my list just because it comes in a 75-inch size that those ones don't. So TCL maxes out at 65. If you want to get crazy huge, that's available for $1,600 right now at Best Buy. And that's a great price for a massive TV that has amazing picture quality at 75 inches. So the Vizio P is really good at that size.
All right, digging for another question here. Let's take one from Storm King. I'm looking for a new TV. I have a Sanyo 32-inch with an actual picture tube. Is it time for me to jump to the 2017 model?
Yeah, again, maybe I'm contradicting myself because I say don't buy a new TV unless you absolutely need to.
Is that a cathode ray?
I think it's a CRT. Yeah, he's talking about a CRT.
I didn't know those were still around.
If nothing else,
that's amazing.
Storm King, love the name. If you buy that TV, you will get 2x the size, which is the best piece of advice that I can give for anybody shopping for a TV. Buy as big of a TV as you can. If you're think a particular size, this is for you, Brian, too, maybe you get something a little bigger. It really, you'll eventually go, okay, wow, I'm glad I did that, instead of, man, I wish my TV was a little bit bigger. So that's, with these LCD TVs, they're a lot bigger than the CRTs used to be back in the day, and it makes a huge difference just for that alone. And again, they're so dirt cheap. $130 for a 32-inch, that'd be a pretty good place to start for that TCL. And someone who's just upgrading from CRT. So
my bad. Sorry.
Yeah, that was somebody else calling you for advice.
Yeah. We're just, the phones are ripping through right now.
They're ringing off the hook. Mine's been vibrating this whole time, but yeah.
If my TV got any bigger, it'd have to double as a dinner table. When do you think? When do you see smart TVs fully integrating Google Home Hub as part of the Chromecast functionality?
I love that question. Maybe next year. I think Google is motivated to keep some of that functionality on the smaller screen, and I think it does make a lot of sense on the smaller screen, the recipe stuff, all the the kitchen stuff, but I'd love to see, for example, the live photos make the jump to Chromecast and Android TVs, which are also powered by Google. That sounds
so easy. You would think that would make so much sense to just do.
Yeah. Quickly. And maybe they already have. Don't quote me on that. But that's really cool. And there's a lot of Home Hub stuff for the smart TV. Like, the thing about a Home Hub is that it's got a built-in, a Google Home speaker, right? So there aren't any right now TVs with the built-in Alexa speaker or Google Home speaker. Yeah.
We both did a briefing with Amazon specifically about the Fire TV Cube, which for one thing motivates Google to try to stay in the entertainment game at the same time with Amazon, because they're both really fighting over various elements of smart home. And that's basically like getting Amazon Lady, which is what we call her on the show.
Yes.
Getting that as close as you can to your television. That's the primary point of the Fire TV Cube, and I think it's also on sale for Black Friday, a pretty good price.
$60.
Yeah, it's $60.
Half price.
They're basically, they just try to like throw out their devices as quickly as possible. They're getting pretty close to doing that, but yeah, if you have any interest in getting a Fire TV Cube, that's a really good price for it.
And I like that product a lot. That's a cool product. But yeah, they haven't yet taken that obvious step of building the Lady into a TV yet, which I feel like maybe will happen next year. We wouldn't be surprised to see somebody, maybe it's Google, who decides to take that leap and say, you know what, screw it, we're going to make the Google Home Hub TV and it's going to be 55 inches and blah, blah, blah.
To your point, though, as far as adding smarts to your existing television with like a stick, you can do a very similar thing with just an Echo Dot or a Google Home Mini, which those are also going to be on sale for like $25 during the holiday. So also, not a reason to run out and get a new television if all you really need to do is add a Dot or a Mini to your living room.
And that's what we have at home. We have the TV in the living room and a Dot, basically close to there. And it actually works better if you have the Dot closer to your mouth instead of the TV speaker, because that's one of the things that they had to re-engineer for the Fire TV Cube. It's designed to sit next to the TV, and there's a lot of other sound coming in there, especially when you're saying the wake word. To get it to mute everything and get ready for your command. I mean, that's one of the issues with having the speaker built into the TV, because it's got to be able to filter out all that.
That's a good point, actually. I wonder if that's one of the limitations that they're bumping up against right now.
Yeah. They'll figure it out, though. Those guys at Amazon, they're smart cookies.
Yeah.
All right.
And Google.
We're winding down towards the end. Let's take a couple more. What's your preferred audio choice as an audiophile? Atmos or DTX? For me, it's DTS and DTX all the way. That's coming in from Tim.
All right, Tim, I wouldn't want to disabuse you of that. And honestly, I don't have, the latest and greatest height-based, object-based 7+ speaker surround system at my house. So I couldn't give you a real good answer. A lot of it does vary on content. Some discs and services and streaming movies, blah, 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 have one or the other. And I know in Hollywood, a lot of these guys are mastering with Atmos. Netflix, for example, is doing a crap ton of stuff with Atmos. So yeah, it usually depends on the content itself. So I couldn't tell you one way or the other. And if you like DTS:X, good on you.
Next question is coming in from Mustafa. Is the Samsung QLED worth it?
Well, there's a lot of QLEDs, Mr. Mustafa.
What do you think about QLED versus OLED, though? I think you and I have had this conversation before.
QLED?
So QLED is Samsung's marketing term for their LCD TVs. It does actually refer to a technology called quantum dots. They've been using it, I think, to make people think that they're OLED TVs because when you look at them, they're little things. There's just a little thingy there, but separating, and yeah. But we've been writing that for the last couple of years. If it's versus, OLED trounces it. It's a completely different technology. OLED is emissive. It's great from off angle. It's got perfect black levels. Yada yada yada. QLED has some advantages. It can get very very bright, for example. And I gave a really good review to the Q8 early this year. I'm looking at the Q9. It's been a long time coming. If anybody's keeping track, it'll get there eventually. Those are their flagship high-end QLED TVs. They're really, really good. They have full array local dimming.
Yippee.
But the Q6 and Q7 don't. So they have less effective local dimming, and their picture quality is generally not as great. And I didn't review them this year, but I'm pretty confident in saying that they're not going to be as good as, for example, this TCL 6 series.
One more coming in last minute here. What's the next version of OLED? I'm guessing some Japanese company possibly testing it right now. Is there?
Wait a minute.
Let's talk
OLED hasn't
future-proofing.
even gone downstream yet. We're already talking about the next one?
Well, there are. I could talk about that too. There's
How
something
long
on
have you been in this
micro-LED.
field, Ben?
What's that?
How long have you been in the field of tech?
Okay, you're right. You're
talking about-
absolutely right about
We don't
that.
even have 5G yet, and people are already talking about 6.
That's right. That's right. What about our 8G?
Yeah.
I need my email ported
Well,
right
8K
to
is
my
here.
brain.
Thanks, Samsung. 8K is here.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're asked about what's going to succeed it in a couple of years, that's micro LED. Samsung actually started selling its crazy expensive commercial only 144-inch micro LED thing, which is basically like a scoreboard, at a game. That's the technology. It's a whole bunch of little lights that are hella bright, and they've gotten really small, and that's cool in 2020 or 2024, right alongside ATSC 3. If you're talking about OLED itself, who's going to get it next? That's a great question because right now it's basically in the United States it's LG and Sony. And Sony's licensing LG's panels. LG's the only guys that can still manufacture it at large screen sizes.
And Samsung makes a lot of OLEDs. They even make OLED for Apple, but that's on the smartphone side.
Yes.
Not for TVs.
Yeah, the Samsung OLEDs are wonderful in phones, and everybody's using them now. But the Samsung does not make a large screen OLED, and I don't think they're going to. They basically said we're going to skip that technology and go straight to micro LED. And so that's their marketing name. Maybe they'll decide to make OLED. Who knows? But they actually did a while ago. Curved. Anyway, other manufacturers, maybe Vizio, maybe, but they seem to be pretty well wedded to their local dimming, full array TVs, and they're at the lower end of the market anyway. Sony, again, already makes OLED. LG does, and there's not that many other people. Hisense, I think, even sells one now. That's a Chinese name, not many people have heard of. I should probably study up on it. And TCL.
I've seen it at Best Buy sometimes.
Yeah. And
Hisense
they're very inexpensive. They're in the TCL range. And TCL itself may or may not, but those are all OLED is basically where it's going to be, I think, for the foreseeable future. You don't see Samsung jumping on there. And maybe one of these other brands, the Vizio, TCL, Hisense, will get one, but it's kind of a crapshoot at this point. And LG is going to continue to make them, and they'll continue to be able to give themselves the best pricing on those sets. And so I think their game now is to try and get as much profit as they can out of OLED until it gets replaced.
With micro LED, from what you know about pricing, is Samsung only selling at that super high level, like
It's
the
not
commercial level?
Yeah, it's not a real product right now. It's
Because it's so expensive?
Yeah, it's a brand new display. They literally came out with it at CES last year. They told me it was one product in the world. They kept shipping around and showing it at their events, and And, you know, maybe they'll announce a smaller size, 144 inches, doesn't fit in too many. Maybe there's a table at Brian's apartment that, you know, you can sit everybody around.
May make it into the door, possibly.
Well, that's why it's modular, literally. They have to make it so you take
is that
it apart.
the wall?
Yes,
that was the wall.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't say. Yeah, that's the TV that's like a Lego, and you can take it apart and put it back together, and you can make it even bigger. Hell, might as well do a couple of them. But I think that's 6 figures, so, you know, who cares? They are talking about bringing that down to a 75-inch size. The problem is when you're shrinking scoreboard LEDs, think about it, you got to make them really, really small, and it's really hard to get the heat working right and all this stuff. So there's actually movie screen technologies that use direct-view LED like that already, and Samsung makes one, Sony makes one called Cletus, the slack-jawed yokel.
Is that a joke?
No. And that was one of the coolest things at CES a couple of years ago. It was a
Cletus.
huge, 38-foot wide Cletus screen.
Thank you for bringing a Simpsons reference into the show. You know that always makes my day.
Anytime.
I was going to make a Cletus line, but the only one that I remember comes from Bart.
The song goes, some folks'll never something, then some folks'll like Cletus, the slack-jawed yokel.
I'll wash myself with a rag on a stick.
That's
Bart.
I said it was Bart. I said it was future Bart. But
that might have been a prototype for Cletus, actually. Future Bart.
It's one of my favorite Bart lines.
Yeah, that is classic.
Okay.
Lisa's mortified by that. But.
Real quick, let's talk about a brand we don't talk about very much. How's Philips doing?
Ooh.
Oh, Philips.
Good old Philips.
That's interesting.
I only hear about them during Black Friday sales. They're big in Europe. Philips is still a Netherlands-based company, although I think their American operations were taken over a while ago by a Taiwanese company. They still sell TVs in the United States. I haven't reviewed one in a long time. But yeah, again, they're basically a European-centric brand right now.
All right, and one more. What about picture-in-picture? Is that making a comeback?
It's one of those things that people seem to like back in the day that doesn't exist anymore. I know some cable boxes you can do that. You can put 2 channels on at the same time with a little box in the lower left.
I've only ever used it as a feature accidentally.
Yes.
Like when you hit the button and it was just, to me, it was just
I even find it annoying on
feature set
YouTube, you know, and it like pops up that little screen,
Yes.
you know, I'm like, just go away. I don't need that.
I'm not entirely sure what the point of that feature was in the first place. It's like, if you're going to watch the news, watch the news.
Well,
if you're going to watch a sports game, watch a sports game.
It's because one channel is not necessarily entertaining enough. And you're definitely bored if you're only watching one thing. So this entertains. I think it's to keep track of 2 football games, for example. It's really cool.
Yeah, for those of
that
us
would
who
be
are
one way
like
of
Buffalo
doing it.
Bills fans, we need to have another picture of somebody actually winning to make us feel better.
Okay. The other thing to consider, I guess, is that PIP may have been killed by the smartphone.
Yeah.
Because everybody does 2 screens now, whether they're on their laptop and watching TV or they're on their phone doing something stupid or watching, like looking at Twitter and also watching the game.
I'll throw that in. It might have a resurgence with these streaming services, like PlayStation Vue, for example, allows you to literally watch 4 shows at once. I think they might even be up
nonsense.
to 8. So because they're streaming, you know, so they can just give you whatever you want on the screen, and they have umpteen channels, so you can throw 4 on there at once or 2 or whatever.
That's some Neo Matrix, I know Kung Fu bullcrap.
Well,
it's just pointless.
It's if you have a lot of money riding on 4 different football games, it's a really easy way to keep track of your wins and losses, real time.
Great. So for the 5 people that matters to, thank you very much, PlayStation View. Okay, fine. More than 5 people, but still.
I mean, like, you know, it's at the bar. I don't know. I haven't done that. But yeah, it's gone away. Picture-in-picture is basically gone from TVs, you know, replaced again probably by phones and maybe these streaming things.
We just watched a mini romance unfold in the chat from Steven Events and from Stephen Doherty of All Natural Lemon and Lime Flavors, which might be the best screen name to ever appear on this show.
Wow.
Some folks will never eat a skunk, and then again, some folks will like Cletus, the slack-jawed yokel.
Well done,
eat
Steve.
A skunk.
I'm
never going to forget that.
You thought of like the less savory one.
Right.
Which I also
good.
know.
Nice.
All right, we are way over time, but hey, it's worth it because it's our last show of the week because we are going to take a brief hiatus surrounding the Thanksgiving holiday. So we'll see you folks back here on Cyber Monday. Buckle up.
Yep. And until then, buy everything.
Yes, happy Black Friday, all.
Happy Black Friday.
Don't forget to eat some turkey.
Yeah. I button. Anyway, 359 is available on iTunes, TuneIn, FeedBurner, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Google Podcast, the Amazon Echo, and of course, CNET.com. Cats, thanks so much for coming. This was really fun. And thanks everybody for all your questions, and we'll see you on Monday.
Bye, folks. Have a great holiday weekend for those of you celebrating, and for everybody else, just have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Damn it.
Today's 359 is sponsored by PlayerUnknown's Battleground Mobile. PUBG Mobile is an on-the-go battle royale at its greatest with eye-popping graphics, super smooth gameplay, and a variety of exciting play modes. Download the official mobile version of PUBG for free. Go to your Android or iOS app store and type PUBG Mobile. And collect a special reward using the promo code HOLZBZX9C. Code also listed in the episode description. Play now!